Trump administration reportedly preparing to deploy a second aircraft carrier strike group to the Middle East. This as talks between the U.S. and Iran concerning the latter's nuclear program have yet to produce a diplomatic solution. President Trump himself posting on social media after sitting down with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu yesterday, saying, quote, "Nothing definitive is on the table, but that he would prefer striking a deal." International correspondent Robert Sherman is live in Rome. Robert, what more do we know about the president's threat to further ramp up our military presence there in the Middle East?
Well, this is something that the president has been putting into the open field of play, saying in an interview earlier this week that this was a part of his consideration. And now you see this new Wall Street Journal reporting that a second aircraft carrier is going through those initial preparations in order to be sent to the Middle East. That has not been a formal order given, according to the officials that they cited there, but something that they are certainly looking at this juncture. But this is all coming off of the major meeting taking place at the White House here this week between President Trump and Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. You heard the president's comments there, and that there was nothing definitive from his end, and he's hoping that negotiations ultimately do prevail. Just moments ago, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu addressed reporters, and this is what he told them. He said, quote, "I won't hide from you that I expressed general skepticism about the quality of any agreement with Iran, but I said that if an agreement is indeed reached, it must include elements that are very important to us, to Israel, and in my opinion, not only to Israel. It's not just the nuclear issue, it's also the ballistic missiles and the Iranian proxies. Those are also issues that the United States has been raising as well." Interestingly, Turkey's foreign minister, giving an interview to the Financial Times, gave the indication that there might be some flexibility in the American position. Quote, "It is positive that the Americans appear willing to tolerate Iranian enrichment within clearly set boundaries." So there's a lot that is going on here behind the scenes. Iran's position is that they're open to having more talks with the U.S. They viewed that first round in Oman as taking the temperature of Washington to see if they could potentially proceed forward. Nothing is formally set on the calendar yet, but both sides are giving indications that they would like to meet again. Nichole.
All right, so they would like to meet. And Robert, tonight, the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, he heads to the Munich Security Conference. That is the same conference where the vice president made shockwaves 1 year ago. What can we expect this year?
Yeah, this is always a highly anticipated event in Germany in which many heads of state and many of those in the diplomatic space end up congregating in Germany to talk about the future of security, especially when it comes to the Western world. Vice President J.D. Vance, you may remember last year, took the podium and spent a good amount of time criticizing Europe in particular for some of the mistakes that he believes that they have made when it has come to their own security and national defense. This was a bit of what he said last year. Take a listen.
In Washington, there is a new sheriff in town, and under Donald Trump's leadership, we may disagree with your views, but we will fight to defend your right to offer it in the public square, agree or disagree.
Now it's Secretary of State Marco Rubio who is leading the delegation this upcoming year. And you think about a lot of the things the Trump administration has talked about on the international stage. They've said that they want to downsize their presence in Europe and focus more on the Western Hemisphere. They have also talked extensively about the Middle East. They have also talked extensively about Greenland and Arctic security. All of that playing into these conversations in Munich, which are set to kick off tomorrow. Nichole.
All right, Robert Sherman on the ground for us in Rome. Robert, thank you.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.